there's a segment among us that's becoming travel snob. Oh, you're just going to DR? Or you're just going to Jamaica? Or you're just going to Barbados?
It's because clearly this is what social media promotes, the flex. Like you gotta be doing something nobody else is doing.
I want all-inclusive, bro. I want to eat when I want to eat, but I want the beach right there.
Oh, you doing all-inclusive?
What up, what up, what up? Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, want to welcome you to another edition of the Charles Coleman Podcast. To my right, you already know what it is. Understated, never underrated, the six-shooter himself, Mr. Smooth as Cashmere Curt Quillen is in the building. How are you, my brother?
I'm well, and yourself?
I'm good, man. Good to see you. You looking real casual. I like the casual look on you.
Appreciate that.
And then, of course, to my left, you all know him. You all love him. Mr. Style and Performance, Emerson's own Mr. High Energy, DJ CEO is in the building.
What is happening, my brother?
I'm good, brother. We out here. You know, we are out here for those of you who are not, for some strange reason, watching on YouTube, but you are choosing to stream us, which we still appreciate, but you're missing some visuals.
Yeah.
We are out here holding it down for the 86 Amazing
world champion Mets. This is Shea Stadium vibes. This isn't Citi Field.
So at this point in my life, I was living in Queens, and I could see Shea Stadium from my terrace.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So when I say I have a personal attachment to this team, it's a real thing for me. Like, you know, the 86 Met Cocaine Cowboys.
There was some wild boys. There was wild boys.
Keith Hernandez, Darryl Star. So I've clearly never, ever sold narcotics.
Okay.
I've never been interested in selling narcotics. But, you know, I'm a lawyer, right? So I'm always thinking about, like, what clients I would like to have. If I was a lawyer then, or I sold narcotics, all I need is a plug to that team.
That's it.
I don't want no other client. I don't want no other fan base. I just want them and their social circle, and I'm good.
The client retention is insane on that team, yo.
That was 70% of cocaine on that one team.
In New York.
Word.
Like in the league, it was like, do you got a guy? Yes.
Right. And they were in Queens. Like, you couldn't have been in a better place.
Or a worse one for that matter.
Facts.
Yo, I mean, like, how much bread did their attorneys and their suppliers get, fam?
And they was getting money because they was winning, so it was nothing for them.
Right, and that's the other part, right? Like, they was winning, so it was like, who's really complaining?
Who's complaining?
More coke. You coming to work, you getting it done.
That's so terrible.
Right.
It's so awful. But
so terrible.
If I was, I ain't gonna say I would wanted to sell narcotics to them, but I would have definitely wanted to be their lawyer.
But you could have just been the middleman and still kicked off.
Take it easy, CEO. Take it easy.
Real situation. Anyway, today I wanted to start us off with something that I thought was interesting and just a little fun. We've had all this like stuff about alien sightings and UFOs and all this craziness, right? So let's say the aliens get here and they're deadly. So the aliens trap you and they're like, yo, I've heard about this thing called hip hop. I'll let you live if you can give me 3 albums that will explain to me what hip hop is.
So my 3 are gonna span pretty much the lifetime of hip hop. So they should. They should. I mean, no, some people might just be like, no, I'm gonna give you all 3 of these from the 80s.
From 88.
Or whatever.
Right.
So The Great Adventures of Slick Rick, Ready to Die.
Okay.
And To Pimp a Butterfly.
Oh, okay. Really, really good choices.
Yeah.
Solid choices.
Yeah.
Violent choices.
That's solid.
Violent.
Is it violent?
Remember, they angry. These the aliens. They just pulled up. You don't want to give them something that just
only
says
Ready to Die,
we need to kill each other and sell as much drugs as possible and pimp out bitches. Like, we got to give them something else.
Great Adventures of Slick Rick, come on.
I mean, that's storytelling. I appreciate that.
Right.
Curt, what's your 3?
My 3 would be, unfortunately, I'm scared.
He started out like, yo, the aliens
got me.
Do us.
And it was a Monday. I wasn't ready. It was I'm doing a Reasonable Doubt.
Okay.
Midnight Marauders.
That's a good one.
Oh man, then that third one, I'm kind of nervous. I'm shaking because the alien's looking at me like, yo, you. I don't know.
Don't say Dipset.
The affinity in me, I want to do something locally like that to represent me and what I like about hip hop.
Right.
But for the show, I'm not going to do that. My 3rd would be probably Life After Death.
Okay.
Just to give them a mix of the energy of hip hop.
Yeah,
It's so funny, like we're aging ourselves in some ways because of the artists that we're choosing, but it also is a commentary, I think, on hip hop. For me, got to go with Illmatic.
Okay,
For me,
for sure.
Right, like it's funny because you chose
to
Ready to Die, you chose Reasonable Doubt, I chose Illmatic. That same window of time, right? Actually, no, I'm taking that back. I'm going Illmatic. I'm gonna go with The Chronic.
Okay.
And then I'm gonna go with AT Aliens. I could go with Aquemini or AT Aliens and be good with that.
I was literally just thinking of Aquemini. Like that probably should be in there.
There's always a debate as to whether like Aquemini, Stankonia, or AT Aliens is the best album. But the point is,
it's in there.
If it's in there,
right?
And since they aliens, I might be like, see, we like y'all.
Right.
AT
See, we named it after y'all.
Yeah.
True. Very true.
That would be it. So I'm curious if you guys are thinking about this. Leave it in the comments. Let us know downstairs, right there. Put it in. What would be your 3 albums that you would, let people know this is what hip hop is? How would you explain that if you had to someone who had never heard it before? That'd be an interesting one. So in the news recently, situation where someone was allegedly caught in a space where his girlfriend of like 10 years, apparently, was cheating on him with his best friend. He has 2 children. At least one of the children, it's confirmed, is actually of the best friend. And then the second one is unconfirmed, but it's suspected that it may not necessarily be his, and he thought it was, right? Again, this is all alleged. What I really want to talk about is the larger principle, because I started doing some research. What?
This is just terrible, man.
I was watching Kurt's face the whole time you was explaining it, and he was just kind of like
this real, right?
They make hundreds of millions of dollars, and they've had to take a lot of time off of work, to, theoretically speaking, to deal with.
To put a handle on this thing?
Yes, to deal with the impact of this sort of space, right? Someone said to me that the United States has one of the highest paternity fraud rates in the world.
Indeed.
Other than Nigeria. And I was like,
oh, well.
Right, I was just like.
I mean, salute to all my Nigerians.
Yo,
come on.
Team Niger, I get it, but y'all know
come on.
That shit is funny.
Right.
Like, that's funny.
You cannot be serious. Come on, man.
So I've learned a lot about this. Misidentification, right, is one thing when you basically attribute the parentage to the wrong person. That happens. What I'm talking about is something different. It's called paternity fraud, where you knowingly—
You're lying.
American Blood Bank did a study, and they estimated the numbers to be as high as 30%.
I was gonna go 70.
Nah, you wild.
Come on, fam.
Come on, fam. You
Chicks
wild.
be lying.
70%. We would all
Especially you
have
say
to
he
go
made
home.
hundreds of millions of dollars. All these kids of yours have. What are you talking about?
Other studies have put the numbers at 10%, between 10 and 30. 10 is still high.
That's very high.
1 in 10 is a lie?
Yeah.
Yo, what's going on out here?
That's a lot. And in the immortal words of Notorious B.I.G., the kids, the dogs, everybody dying.
No lying.
No lying. Anybody who knows me, like, I follow the G code to like the chorus of it all. I'd become John Morant at that point. Like, you'd see me out here with the hammer. I can't.
That's why you had to take off.
Right. No, I
can't
get it.
even.
I can't imagine loving somebody like unconditionally, and then you're lying to me about our family, and then to find out you're lying to my family with somebody I call my best friend. Like, fam, the time I'm taking off is because I'm in prison. It's not because I'm like going to get my head. Like, I'm flying heads immediately.
Even in your explanation though, you're putting the fault solely on her. She's at fault too, but
no, not me. I didn't know. I said heads. Everybody.
I get it, but you said, when you were describing the hurt,
Kurt will mess around and blame the victim and be like, "Yeah, you should have had that."
No, he's saying that's what I'm doing. I'm not doing that.
No, I'm just saying, like, in hearing what you said, it sounded like, as if she was more of a betrayer than your best friend. Like, they're equally as
No, I agree with that. 100%.
irresponsible in this scenario.
100%. Right? I agree.
But again, what is there? And maybe it's just I'm jaded or I just don't love like that. But like, once you find this out, like where's the headache and the problem? Everybody's cut off.
You cold as ice, brother. No. So I
Kids
don't
ain't mine. They no longer my responsibility. Get them off the
So
account.
we're
That's
gonna,
a little
Give me my
tougher,
college
though.
fund back. All that's over.
So this is where I'm going with it. There's a very unfortunate aspect of this conversation for these kids. They didn't ask to be born into this messy shit.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't.
It ain't messy. They got their parents.
I understand where you're coming from, but here's the problem with that. You have raised these children as if they were yours.
Right.
Because mommy and daddy were liars.
No, hold on. But you are attached to them emotionally.
Emotionally.
You're attached to these kids. Forget your
Fuck
relationship.
them kids. They not mine.
All right,
There's plenty of kids outside.
Jesus,
I can sit in
Curt.
the playground and go, oh, those kids are beautiful, blah, blah, blah.
I think it's a little different if you
I
had
hear
an
you.
emotional attachment
I hear
for
you.
10 years
I ain't
with
got
these
that.
kids.
They not mine, huh?
But you can't.
Sorry.
Hey, man, you cold.
I mean, no. But no. Here's the
I
thing.
hear you.
Here's the
I don't know
thing
if I could do
about this conversation. I know that there are people who believe that and feel that way and have that perspective. And I can't say that they're wrong. When you're talking about these young children, they didn't ask to be in that space. And so you might be compounding further hurt on them who are not at fault because of the messiness of their mom and uncle so-and-so. And that's not really fair.
But it's fair for me to now have to continue to love these non-my kids and pay for these non-my kids and raise them in a way as if they were my kids, but that's not unfair to me.
We didn't say that. But you're in it. But the thing is, as an adult, and clearly you're going to have to deal with this pain and trauma regardless. But
Everybody needs therapy.
Everybody needs therapy. But as an adult, you're more equipped
to process
the
that.
process than a child. Like that child is not going to be like,
They just showed up.
I'm going to go over here. Like for 10 years, you've been daddy. Now they're not going to go. And once they know what the situation is, they're not going to be like, oh, all right, cool. I'm
rocking over here.
Yeah, they're not. They're gonna not want to leave you.
Okay.
Damn, Curt.
What does that have to do with anything?
It was cold as ice.
That's what I'm saying. Like these topics are kind of crazy, man, because as much as I want to get it, I don't get it.
No, I listen, I understand your perspective. And I think that as three men who are sitting on this couch, who, to our knowledge, don't have children, that, is a certain perspective that you can attach. I don't know that if after believing that I fathered a child and had a 10-year-old, that I could just be like, you know what? Your mama's trash.
Right.
And I don't got nothing to do
Your
with
daddy
you.
trash.
Your
real daddy trash.
Right. Your mama's trash, your real dad.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But I understand though, if you really was in that space and you could walk away, I get it. I think paternity fraud should actually be a felony.
I think so too.
It should be. Yeah.
I think so too.
Because there is a situation, just
because if I didn't pay child support, I'm getting jammed up too. So yeah, if you lie about this, we should both be in court.
Well, the thing about it is that, at this point, there's a very strong likelihood that the gentleman who is the victim here could end up on the hook for child support because he signed the birth certificate.
Right.
And so legally,
Oh, it's terrible.
he's the father. So it's all kinds of
This story is horrible. Who wrote this? Satan? Like, what is going on?
We're going to move on. That's going to bring us to our contributor segment. Today, we got Style and Performance with DJ CEO. What is popping and what are we talking about, my guy?
So it's apropos, it's just perfect that we are donning this Mets attire,
Pitchers and catchers have reported it's spring training. Let's go.
And we're donning it in our black skin, right? So the topic today is going to be about the representation or lack of African Americans in baseball and how did it get to this point. For a lot of us, we grew up loving baseball, and that's largely due to our fathers. Baseball's always been America's pastime, so our fathers are the ones who introduced this, as to keep it going generation. And they grew up with the Willie Mays and the Hank Aaron's and all this. There was tons of amazing black players. And then so people always wonder, like, what happened? So there's clearly a lot of black players that represent Latin America, right? But as far as African Americans, and here's what I've come to understand to why it's this way. There's a couple of things. One, you could look at the war on drugs, right? There's a direct connection to the removal of fathers, right? So there's no longer of that passing down of this love of the game, right? Another part of it is just geographically. Like when you grow up in inner cities, we just do not have space for baseball fields. On top of that, it's super expensive,
Word.
and you need mad people to play the game. It's not like basketball where you could just pull up to the court, basketball in the rim, and you're good to go. You need,
and you just got a ball.
and you just got a ball, and that's it. You don't even need a rim. You get a milk crate, whatever. Like you can't. Baseball requires money, requires people, requires equipment, and
space
so
and all that,
So that's part of it. And then the last part, I think, is just culturally not attractive to young Black Americans. When you think about the change, right? The introduction of hip hop, right? Hip hop is very much of a flashy, braggadocious kind of thing, and the culture of baseball just does not allow for that. Like one of the hardest things in the world to do is to hit a round ball with a round bat, especially coming at you 90 miles an hour and moving. You're gonna tell me I can't like show off or strut if I hit a 400-foot home run? Right. Like that's insane, and that's not who we are. Like Black people as competitors in sports, that's why we love basketball. You get dunked on, we gonna yell, we gonna dance, we gonna point, and it's accepted. Baseball has very weird and unique set of rules. If I hit you with a pitch, everybody in the stadium expects when it's our turn to get up the bat, we're gonna get hit. Everybody accepts it and go, that's what it is.
Right.
But if I hit a home run, I have to act like nothing happened. Or if I strike you out, like I have to act like
it's a little almost like
they just want you to kind of whatever. And I think there's a culture clash that's not attractive to young black people in America. And you really, I think about last time baseball was super, super popular was the home run race with McGuire, Bonds, and Ken Griffey. And you don't get no more swaggier than Bonds and Ken Griffey.
Well, I think what you just said speaks to another point that I think differentiates, baseball from basketball or other sports, basketball, football. In basketball, for example, one of the things that saw the NBA just skyrocket was that they changed the marketing model to really center its superstars. And it's easier to center superstars because it's less people on the field, right?
Yeah.
So you have 10 people and now you have Larry Bird. Or you can also play off matchups.
Yeah.
So you have Larry Bird versus Magic Johnson. You have Magic Johnson versus Michael Jordan. You have Michael Jordan versus Isaiah Thomas. Even though there are 8 other people on the court, it still is a way to market your superstars. And then, of course, once you start adding in endorsement deals, there's a level of excitement that surrounds these industries, meaning basketball first and then football, that isn't present when you start talking about baseball. So I think that also contributes to it.
I was sitting here listening to you, and for me, I was like, there's not too many Black Americans in baseball because I was thinking economically, right? It's super duper expensive. But then when you said the culture class, it made me even trigger something else in my mind. I think baseball is a community style sport, right? Which is why it's so collective and so many things.
Because it has so many people.
Right.
Yeah.
So for me, the reason we're not in there is that we don't participate in anything community. Our bag and our thing has always been individualism. You know what I'm saying?
That part too, yeah.
There is, and I agree, with the removal of fathers and things like that, there aren't too many passed downable traits.
Right.
But community is one of those things too we're losing by the absence of fathers.
Yeah, it's in the shoot. And did you bring a community? So my dad played semi-pro ball, but so in the neighborhood, like when we played little league, he was the coach for our team. So everybody in the neighborhood, like he was the guy for that. So it was just, so to your point, yes, it's a community aspect, but it's a very difficult sport to get into if you do not have the money, the means, or just actual location. Like, New York City, there's a basketball court on every corner. And you can play all year round. Summertime, you're outside. Wintertime, you're inside.
That's true.
Baseball, if you're in a 4-season city, it's you only spring and summer. That's it.
Right.
There's a couple of things that makes it more difficult, but I think the two main things to me is the culture clash, and once for that period, like in the mid to late 80s into like the mid 90s, the removal of Black fathers due to the war on drugs, like that really stopped the passing of that tradition down, and then other things come in, marketing and all that type of stuff. So.
Well, I know there are a lot of people who are doing a lot of work. I know there are some great organizations in San Francisco, in the Bay, that are doing a lot of work around increasing urban baseball among Black youth, and I know a lot of that work is occurring in Chicago as well. And then there's also sort of another element of how youth sports have become increasingly expensive in terms of the traveling and how that is just part of the structure. And baseball is one of the most expensive sports to get involved with from a youth sport perspective. But I have a couple frat brothers who are in Chicago who are doing great stuff with the Jackie Robinson All-Stars. And it was so crazy that they was outside busting ass as little leaguers. They changed the rules twice to take away a Little League championship from the Jackie Robinson All-Stars in Chicago. So if you haven't heard about that story, you should check it out. But yo, CEO, another great style and performance.
Thank you.
Making it work, making it pop, making it shake right here on the Charles Coleman podcast. That's gonna bring us to our main conversation today. So it's getting, springy outside. People been in the house, or maybe they haven't. Folks got that itch where they want to get on flight. I want to catch flights. I want to get flued out. I want to go wherever I want to go. Everywhere from South Beach to St. Bart's is on the board. I'm finding that more and more there's a segment among us that's becoming travel snobs. Like for me back in the day, I could go wherever and just have a good time. We want to go to Miami? Cool. We want to go to Jamaica? Cool. Now I realize we done water out of Tulum. We done killed Tulum.
Oh.
So please don't mention Tulum to me or Playa del Carmen. Don't do it, right? I feel like a level of travel snobbery that exists in community a little bit around like, oh, you're just going to DR or you're just going to Jamaica or you're just going to Barbados. Number one, have you encountered that? And then number two, have you encountered it from women in terms of talking about going away with them at all? And they're like, I don't want to go unless it's Turks and Caicos, because I've actually heard that.
Oh, jeez. No, I haven't experienced any of that. But I do, from watching via social media, if you will, yes, there's a level of travel
hierarchy.
And I think it's because clearly this is what social media promotes, the flex. Like you got to be doing something nobody else is doing, which is absolutely ridiculous. Because of the advancement of technology and internet, clearly there's tons of tips and tricks to get cheap flights and cheap hotels. And so people have figured out a way to maneuver and find it to be more efficient from an affordable standpoint to travel. So I think that's part of it. They're flexing about where they're going, but the truth of the matter is they done, they didn't cash in every coupon possible to get.
They're not showing you how they got there. They're not telling you they flew Spirit.
No. They're just saying, they just showing that. So, it's just, I think social media plays a big part in it. It's causing people to flex. So.
That's a good point.
You know me, man. It's all about the integrity of the person's opinion we're discussing, right? So if you're talking about, you just made it to Barbados.
Right.
But you never left nowhere. So like what? You know what I'm saying? So,
there's that. You know
what I mean? So come at me with matching energy. That's my perspective. If it's not, or if I know the intimate details of your financial reality, chill out. Straight up, just chill out.
Let's be very clear. I don't disparage sex workers. I don't disparage people who engage in patronizing sex workers. I personally have never done it. Like it's not my thing. That being said,
never
engaged. I've never patronized.
I'm thinking. Never mind.
The sex work.
I'm thinking
industry.
she's saying you've never been a sex worker. I'm like, okay.
I've never, and I have also never been a sex worker.
There we go.
Right. At the same time,
ain't what I heard.
You never know what you're gonna get with this guy. At the same time, I've been to DR more times than I can count, right? And people have said to me like, "Oh, you going to DR?" It doesn't bother me, right? But I always find it interesting when either there are assumptions about, where you're going, or I had a brother say to me one time, "Y'all going to all these West Indian nations or going to all these Central American countries, but you done never been to the motherland."
Yeah.
Like, nigga, what?
Yeah.
I looked at him and was like, please,
right?
Like, what?
What? So what are you talking about?
But it is a thing. And so
it's a real thing.
It's a real thing. Hoteps really be out here.
Yeah. Everybody's out
of
here.
Nowhere. Bow. Hotep hit your mouth. You didn't even know. You wouldn't even expected it. I also think it's an interesting flex, to your point, CEO, on the social media piece, because there are some women who, if they are having that conversation, there's only certain acceptable destinations for them. Part of it is like let me one up. I gotta go to Maldives. I gotta go to
right.
You know what I'm saying? And you like, I mean that's nice, but like there's water everywhere, man. Like, this is the new flex. I'm not staying at the resort.
Oh.
Nah, fam.
We just going away. Why you can't just
fam.
go away and
Like,
go away and be happy?
Like if you're going like Turks and Caicos or Barbados, like I'm good with the resort. Like
I'm
that's
always
I'm
good with the resort, bro.
But like if I go
I
to
want all inclusive, bro. I want to eat when I want to eat.
But
I want the beach right there.
Oh, you doing all inclusive? Damn.
No, that's mad, but that's mad snobby. They be like, oh, you're not really engaging the travel,
Right.
so on and so forth.
Right.
You
'cause they
bringing
wanna
no money to the country. You just out there.
Yeah, that's what they
That's
say.
terrible.
But see, Charles, I'm the one that if I go to like Puerto Rico or if I go to somewhere like Central America, like
you wanna
I do want to
explore-
go. I want to go where the
wanna
locals
explore
are.
where the people are.
I
I mean,
am.
I'm not mad at that.
It's
Like,
not from a snobbish
as you
standpoint.
should, as you should. I just think that people who try to look down on people,
Oh,
people
no,
be like,
yeah.
oh, going to the resort when you go away is like going to McDonald's. Is it?
Is it?
Is it though?
Is it?
Big Mac me, please. Like, come on, get out of here.
But I just want to say this on a positive note. I think as black folks, when it comes to the idea of travel, and this is at least from me, from my perspective, growing up, like traveling the world was not a thing.
Say that.
Right?
Say
so
that.
I appreciate seeing it. Like for me growing up, like we went to Florida, right?
That was vacation. South Carolina.
Right? Going to see your family, going down south.
Memphis.
Like that was it.
Say that.
And there was no plane. You was in the car.
Say that.
In the
Right.
station wagon. Right. So, you know what I'm saying? So I love seeing it though. I do love seeing it. But to your point, yes, the snobbery of it all is kind of like, yo,
kinda
fam,
a lot out
let
of
me just go where I want to go. Like if I just want to go to the Florida Keys, like let me go to the Florida Keys.
Yo, if you got a passport, get them stamps and do what you go where you like. Go within your budget and enjoy yourself. If you want to stay in the resort, stay in the resort. If you want to be with the people, be with the people.
Right.
But let's not judge other people for where they going. So let us know how you're spending your spring. Leave it in the comments downstairs where you going. Or are you the travel snob? And do you want to defend travel snobs across the world? Either way, the Charles Coleman Podcast, we are here for you. We are going to be right back with your favorite segment of the day, Rules of Engagement, right here on the Charles Coleman Podcast, our adult conversation about love, sex, and relationships. So stay tuned. 1 2 1 2. You know what time it is.
What's happening, baby?
I'm good. Are you going to a concert, doing a concert? Are we headlining somewhere?
You already know what we doing. We headline the Charles Coleman Podcast,
there
baby.
you go. That's
we
what
doing
it is.
what we do.
That's what it is. Letting those shots right here. Rules of engagement tonight. This is a relationship conversation. A kind of, sort of. It was a dude who asked another dude about the young lady. And the dude responded basically by talking about how she had been outside. I do know that there was a period where she was outside, and I also happen to know that right now it seems like there's a period where she's evolved and she's less outside. But that was still the reputation she had.
Right.
I also know from my personal life, for a very long time, it was like, oh, he takes down mad chicks, or he be taking down mad chicks. I might have been taking anybody down that they knew, but it was just like, oh, he's taking down mad chicks. Da, 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 da. The question for tonight is, can you ever retire a reputation?
You definitely have to switch zip codes. More so for women than men. It's unfortunate, it's a double standard, but yeah, I think women definitely cannot retire from Hold'em. It's over for you, unless you bounce. You know what I'm saying? If you stand within the same demographic of where everybody took shots and plugged, it's over. Like, you're done. But, you know, same
No
thing.
time? Is it not like your
forever.
credit report?
So
like
you know how
after
many
7
hoes
years?
have been hoes since 13? Like,
I mean,
it's
I get it,
over.
but like,
you 50 now.
Don't
37 years you've been a hoe. Unless you change your zip code to get out the neighborhood.
do the bodies ever fall off your
Nah.
report, your whole facts?
Son, no. Unfortunately not.
What if you was outside in your early years, you move away, and then you come back?
You come back to your old ways.
Even if you're not that way no more?
Doesn't matter. You came back to how you left.
You can't retire your reputation.
And it's even worse because you probably come back with a significant other, a whole
Right, yeah,
family,
yeah, yeah. You
a
do
career.
you doing something else.
But you still ran through Pam. Sorry.
Damn.
Forever. Move to Atlanta and get a new identity.
I mean, a reputation is a reputation. That's what the clinical definition of reputation is. You know what I'm saying? If this is what you're doing, then this is what it is. You know, own it. You know what I'm saying? Make it work for you.
But what if you're not doing that no more?
If you're not doing that, then only thing that's gonna allow that reputation to take on new meaning is more time. Time to see that you're presenting a different version of yourself and you're no longer in it. Now, in terms of your concern around what Katz is saying, that's really the question. Do I care what you're talking about based on the life that I've created for myself? Because my new boo, if he's cool with all my work experience and feel like it's an asset to our current relationship,
Wow.
you know what I'm saying? Then he's living in his best life.
I think kind of what I'm getting at is like, if you're in that same space, you might not be able to get a new boo.
Right.
Because, you know, anytime somebody comes into the space and they start asking, yo, what's up with, oh, well, just know, Raheem, David, D-Rock.
Together.
Not together.
She's been a mess. She was outside.
But I'm saying, but for that woman, right, that is living that,
And it can happen to men too.
I mean, or that man that's living that cloth of life, to some degree, I kind of feel like their investment into themselves is in building that kind of reputation. Like they actually are proud and exhibit a sense of ownership in their existence in the space of saying, yeah, I worked this room. He was good, he was whack. I'll go back to that, but right now I'm into this. You know what I'm saying? And the same thing for the dude. I don't necessarily think they really care because they built the reputation themselves. Now, in terms of your own personal judgment about that person, they don't really care. That's the whole rep part. You know what I'm saying?
I think they care.
The reputation is centered on the fact of what I'm looking to create.
I think they care when they want to do something different but can't.
But
I think as long as they're in that space, they're
Right.
fine. But when they get to the point like
Change.
you know what I'm saying? Like I did that. I was outside. I had my fun if that's what they want. But now I want to do something different. And I might be in a space where there's someone new who I haven't experienced or what have you. They're not intimately connected to anybody else. But the rap, you know, like I'm gonna give you a perfect
look,
example.
all I'm saying to you is it don't matter the example. All I gotta do is find that new boo that appreciate my experience.
I mean, I feel like
because I have invested time and talent into building this skill set,
the miles
and
in.
somebody is gonna inherit
You put the miles
all
in.
of this work.
It doesn't matter. You still a 93 Ultima. I don't care how many times you pull the miles back on
That was the
odometer.
plan, baby.
Okay.
How was the plan?
The plan was to get all this skill set. You know what I'm saying? And now I'm burning rubber. What are we talking about?
You
literally.
That's your
literally.
problem. That's your problem.
That is a
That
fact.
is
Yeah,
intentional
that is a-
behavior. I'm
that
just
is a
saying,
fact.
when we define reputation, at the end of the day, the real question is, at what point do you own what you're building? Like, if I want to create this reputation of purity and pious, it's intentional for me to engage in behavior that is consistent with that. If I know I'm out here ratchet and freaky, I must at some point have a conversation with self and say, hey, self,
But at that point,
this is
it's
what
too
we
late.
want to do.
But you know what? I've had.
Is it too late at that point, though?
I think so, and I'll tell you why. I'm gonna give you two examples. They're basically the same. A woman might have been outside for a little while, right? I wasn't necessarily, there for it. Maybe I was for parts of it, whatever. But I knew she had sort of been outside, and I also knew that the manner in which she had been outside, she did not necessarily have a ton of requirements. And what I mean by that is she wasn't on some, you gotta court me, you gotta date me, I gotta have dinner, so on and so forth. But then she meets me and she's like, oh, I don't do this on the first night. I don't do da.
Now you a hoe with standards. I got you.
You're right. And so I'm looking at her like, and she's like, oh, well, we could go for a couple dates and see how it works out. And don't get me wrong. It wasn't like was it because I know it's the easiest joke to be like, well, you just didn't have the juice. Maybe so. I'm not offended by that. But what I will tell you is I wasn't doing that. You know why I wasn't doing that? Because these 8 brothers that you let smash, you didn't require none of that from them.
See, you know what's crazy
So
to
I'm
me?
not
No, wait,
letting
hold on a
you do that.
second. You know what's
I'm not
crazy
letting
to
you do
me?
that.
Like, so there's a value for men in this woman who has the ability to do all these things, right? She's got talent. She's
got
performing in the bedroom. Where am I supposed to practice this if not to engage in this body count?
No. I don't have a problem with the body count.
Hold on a second.
Yeah,
hold on a second.
count.
You understand what I'm saying? Like, so now I have increased my value. I have increased my experience. I'm a talent.
Yeah.
You're not gonna come in and
world
really
renowned. World renowned talent.
It's a course. There's a time frame that I got to create all this value to be able to come and give you the performance that you want. But somehow it's counted against me because it included some body counts. Like, I don't understand.
That's not, no. You got to understand.
It's a double-edged sword.
No.
What do you really want?
Hold on.
Do you want me to spin it from the top, or do you want me to come in lame on some straight corny ass shit? Like,
hold on. There's
you know,
a couple
I
things.
can't please y'all.
There's a
The
couple.
problem,
Hold
I'm
on.
not finished. Don't cut me off.
I'm gonna let you
Let
ride.
me finish what I'm saying,
All right.
because there's a double standard here too. At the end of the day, it's really clear. In order for me to bring the skill set that you're looking for, I need the body counts. Y'all counting the bodies. Y'all want to label me. It's like there's no pleasing you. And the flip side about that is that when y'all got the body counts, you're a stud. It's a compliment to you in that you have all these body counts. Why don't y'all just keep your mouth shut, let my body counts exist, and reap the benefits of my performance, and let's just move past this.
All right. I've let you rock.
Please.
There are so many different things about why what you just said is full of shit.
Okay, here we
Number
go.
one, all right? You don't need a ton of bodies to get experience.
No, I do.
Hold on, no. You're not gonna do that now. You're not gonna do that now.
Oh, okay, all
I'll
right.
let you
I'ma
rock.
let
You're
you
not
speak.
gonna do that now.
I'ma listen.
You don't need a ton of bodies to get experience.
Okay.
What you need is a ton of different experiences with someone who's willing to do different things. That's number one. So that's bullshit. The idea that you can't be a good lover if you don't have mad past lovers does not make sense. So let's cut that out right now. Number two, the point that I was making was that it wasn't about the woman's body count. It was about the fact that you were applying different standards to how you wanted to engage people over here versus over there. If you let 8 dudes beat off of chicken fingers and I bring you chicken fingers and honey mustard, open up, ma. It's popping. I'm not going to get you filet mignon.
Nah.
We don't do that. It's not
happening.
happening. The different standards is the issue, not the bodies. The number of bodies is not the concern. So the idea that all of a sudden now you want to reinvent yourself and be like, oh, nah, I need a trip to get flown out, or I need this or that. We're not going for that. You was over here, you was outside. Cool, you did your thing. Got your experience on your resume, bring it to the job, we're gonna hire you, but the salary you got over there is the salary you're gonna get over here. That's how that shit works.
Okay.
So that's the point that was being made. Now, when you're talking about the double standard, it also comes into a play, it comes into a factor in terms of like a man not necessarily being able to shed, then you say it's a stud, but for a lot of people, it becomes a conversation about he just be fucking mad bitches. He just be taking down mad chicks. That stud shit is really, really tenuous today. The language of the 80s and the 90s where men and their virility in terms of like being able to bed different women, making them this sort of like super demigod, that shit is very much so evaporated. It's looked at like now, yo, he's a slut. Like the same way that women will say, yes, women will be like, oh, nah, you know, he done took down a couple, he a slut, he outside, so on and so forth. So the negative connotation around bodies is not just limited just to women now. So all that shit you was talking about,
All right.
I gotta let Kurt get in because we've been going.
Kurt don't need to get in, all right? Let me finish,
you
let
can't
me
cut
respond to
out.
what you're saying.
You can't cut
No, I
Kurt
gotta
out.
respond to that because right now you done changed the whole question. You done changed the whole
I
thing.
said, can you retire a reputation? That was the
Again,
question.
so the reputation that we retiring, right, ain't got nothing to do with chicken fingers versus filet mignon.
Yes, it does.
No, it doesn't.
It does.
No.
Because if you let these 8 dudes beat
Nah.
and they didn't do nothing
But that-
for
what
it,
you ain't-
that's your reputation.
You know what the problem
it's mad
is?
easy to smash.
No.
It's mad easy
Don't
to
stand up.
No,
Don't
no.
stand up.
Come on now.
Don't stand
It's
up.
not-
It ain't gonna be
it's
that
mad-
kind of show.
It's mad easy
All
to
I'm
smash
saying is,
Janine
at the end of
because
the
all
day,
you need
see,
to do
the
is just
problem-
hit her and take her to get, take her for drinks and she busting it
This
open.
is it.
That's the reputation.
Bro, you said that, right? But see,
Right.
what you fail to realize is for old girl, it wasn't even about that. It was because them chicken finger dudes had chicken finger chicken leaks. The dude that got the filet mignon request is because he was doing something more. That's the part. You gotta understand, we changing the game based on who you are. So all them chicken finger dudes,
and we not going for that.
No, we are. We are. Trust me.
No, y'all are, but we're not going for it.
At the end of the day, that's what you think.
You going for it?
Listen,
I mean, again,
it
I
don't
wanna
matter
hear this
what you
perspective.
want. I need you to understand. See, this is the problem. In your little mind, you really think you still in control. The shooting runs the game. We gonna pick and choose who gonna get what, and they gonna get catered based on what we desire. It don't matter what you're thinking, and it don't even matter what my past is. Because you know what? Boo Boo the Fool is coming down the block, and I'm gonna get him. God, he got taken down,
and what I'm saying
and
is that
he paid for it at a premium.
Because
we got that kind of magic.
It's a sucker born. Listen, it's a sucker born every day.
Every day.
There's no question about that.
So don't be mad when you the sucker.
But but understand this.
Sucker.
Listen, there's a sucker born every day, but there are a lot of men who are not going for that. Like, did you see it coming? You know what it is. I gave you 2 examples. In both of those examples, I was like, yeah, nah, I'm not doing that.
Right.
And in both of those examples, I still beat. Off the chicken fingers and the honey mustard.
You was a chicken fingers chick. That's
right.
how
You know what I'm saying? So, no, I'm just saying. I'm just saying. So like that.
I'm just saying.
That
Understand the category.
That's a hustle.
It's exactly. It's all a hustle. You know it.
It's a hustle.
We playing this game together.
Am I lying?
You're not lying, but again, like you said before, Tommy Tucker, the neighborhood suckers are born every day, man. But manage your expectations and your emotions.
There we go.
That's
Thank
it.
you, Kurt.
What does that mean?
You know what it means, bro.
I don't know what the fuck that shit means, but it sound fly. At
Yo,
the
we
end
are-
of the day, chicken fingers, shrimp dinners, all of that. Mob, you was over there with that. Beat it with the crab legs and now the filet mignon.
That's what I'm
So,
saying. You're not doing
you a
that.
Kennedy fried chicken. Don't catch me and catch. Period.
All right.
Hey, that's what it
All
is.
right.
Well, listen, we out of time. This has really been a good one and a very, very spicy rules of engagement as it is. I want to thank my team of contributors for always keeping it live on Rules of Engagement. If you want more of this, make sure you tune in every Tuesday, Talkback Tuesday, on my IG Live, 8 p.m., CF Coleman Jr. on IG. It was more of this, CFC Off the Clock. Really, really good conversation. But let us know what you think. Leave a comment. Leave it downstairs. We will respond. This has been the Charles Coleman Podcast. That's Curt Quillen. This is Gloria Cherubin, and I'm Charles Coleman. Until next Wednesday, we will see you soon. Peace.